Do you think it's worth doing a call, Chris? I'll give it a rock. Woo!
Welcome to He Said, She Said. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Tani, how are you today?
Good, good. And
Awesome.
today we have a special guest. The IBRO is here. Jim and Chris are here. They're going to be talking about their documentary and all this kind of stuff, and should be good times. And this will be our first transatlantic.
Right?
There you go. Yeah.
What part of Ireland are you guys in?
I'm in Dublin City, which is on the east coast. If you look at the map of Ireland, it's the capital city on the exact east coast in the middle on the right hand side. If you look at the map, and Chris is up in Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK.
Okay.
So both of us cover. There's about 120, well, about 135 miles between us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fair distance for Ireland. It's a good distance, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in County Armagh, so I'm just right below. If you know the map of Ireland, there's a big lake in the middle of the top half of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sit right below that, right in the middle of Woodbush territory.
Nice.
Excellent place to live. Excellent place to live.
Is it? You know, I've never been. My dad was half Irish. In fact, this is my studio, and I call it the Keenan's Daughter Studio because his name was Keenan, and his first name was named for one of his ancestors. Their last name was Keenan, right? So it's kind of fun. Someday I'd like to come there, but you know,
Yeah.
maybe we just need to hop a plane and go over there and look for Bigfoot with these guys.
I think you're exactly right.
Definitely.
Wouldn't that be
Definitely.
fun?
Well,
Yeah.
Chris and I already saw a UFO together, so there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was unexpected. That was totally unexpected, Tommy. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
We were actually hunting for a Bigfoot, and something else turned up. So
Yeah.
Where were you guys in Cryptovania?
Yeah,
I
I was on a live feed in the local bog here looking for Bigfoot, and Tommy
Sure.
was on screen having the chat, and I was actually, just minding me. I was actually watching where it was going because it was black dark at this stage, and I was paying attention to the ground really. And Tommy was the one with the eyes, and the guys watching the show were the one with the eyes. So they seen it first, and Tommy was shouting, "Chris, stop!" So then I turned around, and sure enough, there was a UFO sitting above the trees. Yep.
Isn't that wild? Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So tell us, Jim, a little bit about your group and your organization for people here in America who don't really know who you are.
Yeah, we have the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization. We have a very substantial membership on Facebook. If you just type in Irish Bigfoot, it'll come up in your search there, no problem. Chris is the president of the organization. I'm the vice president. So Chris is the one that really set it up in the first place. Myself and Chris met through our interest in Bigfoot and research. And we eventually got together and we set up the organization. And it's I don't know how many members, Chris, now at this stage. We've a substantial following.
About 45, I think, certificate holding members. Yeah. So there's about sort of 20, 30 regulars, and then the other sort of 15 pop in like once every 6 months. Say hi and then go away for another 6 months. But yeah, we've got about 30 regulars and probably I would say about 10 hardcore. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was going to say. With that many members, you got to have a core group that's probably much smaller that actually does the work. I know even in my group, there's 7 of us, but there's probably 3 of us that are actually out there all the time. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it just is what it is. You know, some people are excited about it and they want to go, but they just don't make the time to go. And then there's the rest of us who are just so caught up in it that we're out there all the time, right? So I think a lot of people would be interested to learn that Bigfoot's in Ireland. I guess, you know, as researchers, I know that Bigfoot is everywhere, but a lot of people are like, you know. So tell us about that. Where have you actually laid eyes on one?
Oh yeah, quite a few on quite a few occasions myself. Yeah, it's usually whenever you're not expecting it. It's you know what I found is it's really up to them. It's what they want to do. If they want to show you who's boss, they're going to stand out and show themselves. You know, get out of my territory. Basically, that's what it is. You know, there is the odd time where they do make a boob, and you catch them out or whatever. But I think generally the most times whenever a sighting happens, whether it's in Ireland or any part of the world, it's usually on purpose. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now do you call it the woodwose or the Bigfoot, or what do you call it?
Just like you guys, Tommy, there's hundreds of different names for it in different parts of Ireland. Just like in the States where the Native Americans had countless different names for it, all the tribes had different names. So all the local groups over here had different names too, yeah. But I mean, the woodwose is generally the European term for the Bigfoot in Europe, and Wudawaza would be the main two European sort of names for it. But in Ireland, it was generally known as Wildman. So but known as Green Man and Grey Man, you know. So of course we've got two different species as well. I'm sure you guys have got a few species yourselves. We've got two that we know of, and that is clearly defined by the two different types of print. The one side, well, the print for the Grey Man is your typical Squatch print. So it's the long, just like a Squatch print. I'm sure the guys watching know what a Squatch print looks like. The woodwose print is basically like a Neanderthal print. So if you Google a Neanderthal fossil footprint, just Google it, you're looking at a woodwose print. That's as simple as that. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So yeah,
very cool.
So, where do you typically find him? So it is. Okay, I'm very ignorant about Ireland. I just know it's green, green, green. But are there a lot of woodlands in Ireland?
Jim?
Yeah, it's there are substantial. How would you say? Ireland has a population in total of about 6.5 million, maybe 7 million people in total, and 95% of those are in the cities. And in the cities, there's vast areas of unexplored. Well, I wouldn't say really unexplored, but wilderness and vast valleys and mountains, and a lot of native trees and plantations. A lot of wooded plantations. We have a company over here called Quiltia. They're like the forestry company you have in the States, and they manage all the forests, all the government-held forests. But there's specifically in Northern Ireland, up and around places like Donegal, there are woodlands that go on for, geez, I don't know how far, Chris, would you reckon some of those woods go on for?
Well, I mean, if one of the suppose our biggest area, I think our biggest area is down in the south. Well, Donegal would be the second biggest, I think, but the biggest is down in the southwest. It's about 150 miles across, I think. And Donegal wouldn't be too far from that, I don't think. But I mean, the areas in Donegal are connected with the areas in the Spurns and the Big Dog area, which we covered in our last documentary, and right across to the forests in South Monaghan and South Tyrone, North Monaghan. That area basically comes right round, you know, right across. So it is, if you count that as one area, officially it's not one area, but if it's joined together, you know, there's got a river separate that, you know what I mean? So I mean, you know, it's the one area. So if you're gonna count that there, that's probably the biggest area, yeah. In my books anyway, it would be, yeah. So that would be Donegal and across, you know, sort of the bottom half of the north of Ireland. So yeah, that's absolutely huge on Irish terms, you know.
Absolutely.
And now you guys have the peat bogs too, as
Yeah, the peat bogs are sort of there all over the place. You know, they can sort of pop up anywhere really. And but both my local areas are both peat bogs, and they seem to be sort of more suited towards the woodlouse type.
Yep.
The grey man has been seen in those areas, but not as often. And the woodlouse seem to like those better. Tommy, I think we've had experiences that way in the past. Maybe you've had some on live feeds. Yeah. So yeah, woodlouse seems to like those areas better. Yep.
So, so you have a new documentary that you just did. So tell us about that.
We have the first one, which Tommy has the advantage of seeing. I don't know how many times Tommy has seen it, probably more than once.
oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah, that's Walking with the Wildman, Ireland's Bigfoot. That's the original one. That's the one that is coming out on Cryptovania. That is out still on Amazon Prime. We have the new one, which is part 2, the Woodlouse. That's out on Amazon Prime at the moment, and we are the 17th of next month in May. We're starting filming of part 3 of the documentary. So we've been busy. It's the lockdown has delayed us quite a bit, but it's given us the opportunity to acquire new equipment. I think we've 3 new drones that we're going to use, all in 4K. Chris has all the new cameras, new Canon cameras, and also 4K. So yeah, we're looking forward to a lot of money spent on equipment. So we're looking forward to going back filming again, you know. But yeah, definitely part 1, as Tommy knows, is coming out on Cryptovania, and that's why we're here today to talk about that.
And that's called Walking with the Wildman.
Yeah, Walking with the Wildman is coming to Cryptovania, guys. So it's going to be there, I think, for a couple of months. Streaming on Cryptovania TV, and then it'll probably go off for a little while. It's just all licensed and stuff, but it'll go off for a little while. It may come back again, who knows? But yeah, it's coming on. It's going to be on for about 3 months, I think. We haven't just confirmed the date yet. I think maybe Jason should have something up in the description for this, maybe for that. If the guys check that, I should have really checked that before the show.
So tell me, what do you think these structures are that we find in the woods everywhere? This is a standard question for me because we don't really know what they mean, right? But what do you think they are?
Jim, you go first. Jim, you let us know your views first, sure.
Yeah, we come across, as Tommy probably seen in the documentary, these massive big X structures that we come across. I personally think that they're territory boundaries. The other ones that we come across tend to point towards water sources, towards the river, or towards the lake. They're pointing in that direction. So a lot of those we did find as well. But the big ones, I do believe they're, in my opinion, that they're territory markers or boundary markers.
Some people suggest that they're a welcome sign. Some people suggest that they're a warning sign. I've never figured that one out, to be honest. But the one that I do know for sure, is the territory marker, which is the upturned tree into the ground with the roots, the ball root, upside down.
Yeah.
Because I've had first-hand experience of that, walking into one of those there and get out, in other words, you know.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. I was right in their living room.
Yeah.
There was one thing in the documentary that Tommy probably remembers. We were in the bog. Went down this. It was a cold, wet day. It was very cold. We were the only ones around for miles. We went in this certain pathway. We spent 10 minutes doing a bit of filming, and when we came out the same pathway, there was a stick placed in the middle of not a huge stick, but it was definitely shoved in, and it didn't fall from a tree. There was no tree. We're in that vicinity, so something or somebody or someone or something has placed it there, and that's in the document. You can see it there, so that wasn't very unusual.
I think they were just letting us know. I think they were just letting us know that they knew we were there, and there was nothing sinister about it. But they were just saying, "Yeah, I know you're here." And that's it,
Yeah. Definitely wasn't there when
That's,
we walked in. 100%.
that's the day I decided that I loved Ireland.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good story. You know, sometimes I always say when I find X's, Tommy, don't I always say X marks the spot, whether that means that or not? But
Yep. And it's amazing that like the same structures that we have, you guys have over there too.
yeah,
You know,
across the water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So our argument there is, well, we're finding all the same structures as you. We're finding all the same prints as you. We're having the same experiences as you. So are we all deluded? Because if we're all deluded, you guys in the States are all deluded too. It's as simple as that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's just a no-brainer, you know what I mean?
And I've seen your prints before. Your prints are exactly like ours are here.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of? Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that Bigfoot is physical, or do you think he's something else, like maybe interdimensional? Thoughts?
Myself, I believe that it's flesh and blood. I know there's lots of stories I've listened to. This might shock you. I've listened to over, at this stage, 12,000 podcasts
Oh,
over the last 10 years. I drive for a living, so I get to spend 14 hours a day driving. So I got podcasts playing all day. So I do a lot of listening. But yeah, it's flesh and blood for me. Just that's the way I feel about it. Chris, I think, is something similar, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm open to all theories, because at the end of the day, none of us in any part of the world where we have these creatures, nobody knows what they are. You know what I mean? Yeah, I personally myself, from what I've seen and witnessed, flesh and blood, but I can't discount anybody else's story because I wasn't there, you know?
Mhm.
So
Tell me this. Do you ever find trails of tracks, like tracks of Bigfoot, and then suddenly they disappear? And there's no reason why. They're just like,
I've
where
never.
do they go? If they're not
Yeah,
what happens?
yeah, I've heard stories of that. Obviously, quite a few stories in that one. But I've never seen that myself. The only closest to being Jim came to that was in Walking With The Wildman, which is coming on Cryptovania, by the way, guys. You'll be able to see it yourself when we find the prints in the snow at the top of the mountain. But obviously, it was quite clear that they actually just walked up to the top of the mountain, had a little nosy around them, and walked back into the woods. You know, they didn't disappear or whatever, you know. But certainly, you know, they were up there that night before that, obviously. And it's funny that time when we were actually out filming for that, we were down sort of about halfway down the mountain, and at that time in the morning, the top of the mountain was still covered in snow, and we were actually going to head up there first just to get a few shots up the top. And we said, no, we'll just get stuck into things. We'll get into the woods and get moving, you know. And if we would have done that and went to the top of that mountain first, we would have found hundreds of prints. But we still found 13, but we probably would have found hundreds, and we would have found their trail right out of the woods too, probably. But it's one of those things, just one of those things in life, you know, just simple decisions, you know, are we going to go into the woods? Are we going to go up top of the mountain, you know? And decision was made to go into the woods. So, but we still found them, all different sizes.
Yeah, it was the only place that wasn't thawed out. Everywhere else was thawed out. Just that top of the mountain where we went, there was about maybe a couple of 100 yards of snow still left, and we were lucky. We were just extremely lucky to find what we did. But there was how big was the biggest one, Chris? 20? Was it 21 inches? I think it was. Was it more?
Yeah, it was absolutely huge. Yeah, 21 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what to look for. I track deer. I can track deer. I'm a deer hunter. I spend a lot of time tracking deer. A lot of the guys do call me to go out and track deer for them and that. But Yeah, we were lucky to, as I said, lucky to find it there. But as you've seen, Tommy, they were they were very substantial prints. You could clearly see the toe marks, and it was absolutely ice cold up there. We were freezing to death up there. It was very cold, and you're not going to have people walking around in bare feet, especially in the size feet that we've seen. You know, it's extremely large.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, no, we have found, because we're in Minnesota, right? So it's freezing up here a lot of the year. And we were out one February and we found a whole trail of Bigfoot prints that were between 22 and 24 inches long each. They were huge. And suddenly they disappeared. And, you know, we're northern girls, man. We walked around that forest looking for somewhere where they might pick up again. They never did. They just were finished, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can probably look past that, obviously, if there's lots of trees around, because you know you can put the answer to that they'll trim up a tree or whatever. But the fact that if you find an open ground, you know, there's definitely something strange, unless they've been abducted, you know. Who knows? Because that night, me and Tommy, UFO, we sort of talked about that maybe they were after Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It can happen. It can happen.
Yeah. Tommy, did you have a favorite recreation from the documentary?
Yes, I would say the Google Squatch. The Google Squatch was so good to me. Like it was so simple, but it made so much sense. You know, I never ever thought of doing the Google Squatch.
Yeah.
So,
that was Chris's idea. He's spent many a day and night searching Google in his terrain and in around the area there, and he came up trumps with a few of them. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that was an extremely good Google Squatch, though. You know.
Yeah.
These usual ones that you see, you know, the blob squatches and stuff, whatever, you know, you just blow it out. But that one actually looked really well, you know.
Yeah.
So it had to be done. But it ended up being a log stump squatch, but it just looked so well, you know.
Yeah, you could clearly see a face in it when you look at it. You know, you could clearly see it, and it was it's once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? Once you go, God, there it is. You know, you can see it. It was like people will when they get to see it, you'll say, wow, it looks really, really, really good. But as Chris said, it turned out to be a stump squatch, but it was the best stump squatch I've ever seen.
Definitely. Yeah, I haven't seen as good a stump squatch since, and I don't think I ever will again. It was absolutely excellent, well put together, naturally.
But you know that shows some of the humility of your organization and stuff. Is you guys are willing to say it was not what it seemed, but it's cool, man. It's still cool.
Yeah, I think I come across a lot as Renee out of Finding Bigfoot. I poo everything that I see until it's proven to me.
Yeah.
You probably see that in the documentary. So it's not everything is a squatch, as they say, you know.
Yes.
And I have to admit, on that particular occasion when we were out there shooting that day, I was extremely disappointed when Jim says it's a stump squat. to be quite honest with you, I've never been so disappointed in my life. It actually, you know, whoa, it's a stump squat.
Yeah.
Well,
now, who got to wear the ghillie suit? Who was the person that got to do that?
Him.
Yeah. It's a professional military grade ghillie suit, which I personally destroyed with black paint and green paint. So take it to acquire the look that we got in the documentary, and I think it pulls off well. Tommy, does it?
It does. It's very believable.
Yeah. On the subject of, you'll see a lot of firearms being used in the documentary. The firearms are all belong to me personally. At no occasion were the the firearms intended for the Squatch. It was in some of the areas we were in, we have large black cats. They're not native to Ireland, but it's a long story. They were released by their previous owners in the late 1970s, and because the government brought in new laws, new standards and licenses, and it turned out to be very expensive. So a lot of the people just let them loose into the wild. So they have a breeding population. So that's all the firearms were there for our own protection against these alleged cats that were in the area. So just to put that one straight for people that see the firearms and put 1 and 2 together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually remove the word alleged cats, Jim, because I've seen 2 myself. I know for a fact. Yeah.
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 Again, I'm doing my Renee bit, you know. I didn't see them, so I'm doing my Renee bit, you know. Alleged is what I see. Yeah. I think also in just on the documentary, the selection of music that was chosen for it was outstanding. It really went well with there's a good bit of drone footage for people that like scenery. You'll see a lot of Irish scenery in it, and it's breathtaking, as Tommy would say.
Yeah. Yes.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to see it.
The music was awesome, and yeah, the scenery was great too. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't wait to get started on part 3. So, but as I said, part 1 was a learning curve for us. It was a really how would you say, an eye opener. Part 1. Part 2, as you know, is on Amazon Prime at the moment. That one was really, really good. It's doing very well, actually. A lot of views on it. Part 3, as we say, we're starting in next month on the 17th. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
we're gonna meet you guys one day. One day we're gonna meet you guys.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the documentary, Tommy, lengthwise, how did you find the length? Is I was saying to Chris, and Chris agreed, and every Sasquatch documentary, you're just getting into it, and it's only 45 minutes, and it's over, and you're going, you know, that was so quick. We don't do that. Chris, what's the runtime for a documentary? The first one?
1 hour 54 minutes.
Oh, yeah. 2 hours almost. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to watching Walking with the Wildman, which will be on Cryptovania soon. Probably sooner than we think. Maybe, like I said, when this gets out, maybe that'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. It should be next. Yeah, it should be very, very soon.
Well, Tommy, another episode, and thank you guys for joining us from Ireland. I know it's much later over there than it is here in Minnesota, for sure.
Chris Dawson and Jim Bradley.
Beautiful evening, as you can see. It's absolutely beautiful evening. So there's not one cloud in the sky.
Awesome.
which is very rare for Ireland.
Yep.
Well, have a fabulous rest of your day, and until we meet again. Anytime you want to come on, if you make a exciting discovery or whatever, you just let us know, and we'll do it all over, because this was fun. Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
When the the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, it's gonna burn this mother down. People try and run, flee in vain, climb over anyone gets in their way. And when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, it's gonna burn this mother down. Yeah. Told you this day would come, called your name. Hell, I told everyone it's end of game. And when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, it's gonna burn